So why do we have to be proactive in managing your cash? What happens if you don't? What happens if you pay a bill and you don't have money in the bank account? What's the $35 for a check, and then they charge you interest at a horrendous rate and things like that. But you really need to be proactive. And so today we're going to talk about these eight principles. So number one, turn your inventory.
Buy on credit and sell for cash. Don't eat your inventory.
Yeah.
Learn how to say no when people ask you
Is
for
that hard to do if you're running a business? And family comes to say, "Hey, I really need this." Is it hard to say no to family? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you can give them things from your own home, but not from your business.
Yeah.
Because if you give it from your business, then your business could fail, and then that would be not good.
Yeah.
Because then you wouldn't have an income anymore. So pay yourself a livable salary, buy things in bulk, and negotiate positive payment terms. And be wise and have integrity. Always be honest. When you say you're going to pay somebody on a certain day, you pay them on a certain day.
Yeah. Let's go through. What does it mean to turn your inventory? Sister Sedgwick and I went to Costco yesterday. Go ahead. Ruby, what does it mean?
It's like getting rid of the product on the shelf.
Getting rid of the product on the shelf. Is Costco expensive or cheap? It's cheap, very inexpensive. How do they make money?
Membership.
And number one is membership too. But how often does a product at Costco, how often do they turn their inventory? Almost daily.
A lot.
Daily. They turn it a lot.
So that's really important. So turning your inventory means that you're selling it more often.
That's right.
So buy low, sell high. Turning your inventory often can make you a lot of money for someone who understands the power this combination brings. So if you buy 100, you buy something for 100 and you sell it for 300, you made a $200 profit. If you sell it twice a day, you make $400. If you sell it 5 times a day, you're making $1,000. If you sell it 10 times a day, you're making $2,000.
So what Costco does is they just have a very low margin, but they turn it over consistently.
Very quickly. Okay, let's do this one. You buy a product for $600 and you sell it for $950. What would be your profit if you worked 6 days a week and you turned your inventory 3 times every day? So who can figure that out? Get your calculators out. You buy it for $600, you sell it for $950, so that's $350. You're going to make a profit. You're selling it 3 times a day, 6 days a week. How much are you going to make? Who has it? $6,300. Very good.
Notice the key. It's finding good products that you can turn over quickly.
So think about it if they could sell it 6 times a day for 6 days.
What would it be if it was 6 times a day? It'd be double that.
Yeah, double that.
Lessons, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now, it's interesting here. Key is to clear out products. Remember we told you the story of Kermit McKinney and the 2 Dodge trucks? Why were they willing to let those trucks go at roughly at invoice price or a little bit below? They had already been on their lot for 7 months. Again, auto dealerships don't like cars that have been there a long time because they're willing to take a loss so they could get rid of it, so they could bring in more cars that had better margins and would turn over more often. But that's why it's so important to keep good records so you can identify which products are selling and which products are not selling.
So the reason you want to buy on credit and sell it for cash is because a lot of times when you buy things on credit, you don't have to pay for it for like 30 days or even 90 days. So it gives you a lot of time to use your credit to your advantage. So if you buy it, you bought it for $100, but you have 30 days to pay it off, and then you sell it for $150, but you still don't have to pay that $100 back until 30 days later. So then you can still have that $150 in your business, but anyway, that's your cash flow. So you can use it to your advantage. I do that with my credit cards all the time. I pay my rent with my credit card, and then I don't have to pay the real rent bill until 30 days later when my credit card becomes due.
Amazon, company we all know, Amazon Prime, we call it the budget buster. But what do you think Amazon does? Do you think they finance the inventory? When you buy something on Amazon, guess what? The manufacturer that pays to have that inventory at Amazon's offices, and then when you pay for it, as soon as it's shipped out, you pay for it, and Amazon doesn't pay for that until 30 days after that. So they actually have your money. So again, they're very, very good at this, buying on credit, selling for cash. So how do you do it? Again, you find suppliers that will work with you. Again, trust is such a big deal. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so important to maintain a reputation of someone who's trustful. Keep your promises, and then sell only for cash. If you sell on credit, then there's a good chance that you're not going to have the resources to be able to pay when it comes due.
Because they still haven't paid you yet.
Yeah, they still haven't paid you yet.
Don't eat your inventory. Eating, giving away, or letting others borrow your inventory are always ways to lose money. Never let anyone take inventory without paying for it. Not even you. You should not be taking things out of your business unless you pay for it. This will cost you and your business and your family's future and prosperity.
But some people think, well, I'm just being kind to my family. Yeah, or my extended family, but you got to take care of your own family first. You've got to keep your finances in order first.
So you can give things away from your own home and from your own belongings.
Your own emergency fund.
But if you take things out of your business and keep giving it away, that's a really surefire way to have your business fail.
Yeah.
Learn to say no. Be nice later. Remember that you're...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
You're doing fine.
Remember that you're trying hard to build your business so that you can take better care of your family later. Remember that if you will learn to say no to their small requests now, you can build your business and hopefully be able to give them much more later. Maybe even a job and their own chance at financial success in the future.
Remember we talked about the principles of giving wisely? If you do feel you need to give, follow those same things. The goal is to empower, not enable. You want to teach them. So if you want to help them help themselves, teach delayed gratification. Teach them to work for what we see. Those principles that we talked. But if you are going to help, make sure you tie that help to the accomplishment of specific principles, because it makes all the difference.
But you don't want to do it out of your business.
Yeah, you won't do it out of your business account. This would be out of your personal account. Mm-hmm. One of our students last semester actually said, he says, I learned that I not only have my emergency fund, but I have an emergency fund for my extended family. And that may be a necessity as well.
So also pay yourself a livable salary. Make sure that you could live on a salary that you're paying to yourself, so you don't have to continuously take more money out of your business.
Yeah, and so what happens if your business isn't generating enough? You might have to figure out how can you generate more income. Mm-hmm. Remember, savings, income, and expense plan is 3 parts. What is your savings? What are your income? And what are your expenses? We should always be praying, Heavenly Father, help me to know how I can get more income. Help me know how I can save more. Help me to know how I can reduce my expenses. Help me to be a wiser financial steward.
So, and occasionally take home a little extra for your family. Involve your family in the long-term planning for their goals so that they will become more financially self-reliant as well. And don't let family members or customers take products without paying cash for them. And don't leave money unattended.
Or checks unattended.
So, many years ago, we were having the interior of our house painted. So we had to move all the furniture away from the walls. So in order to move the dressers away from the walls, we had to take the drawers out and stack them on top of each other. And then we went on vacation while the painters came in and painted our whole house on the inside. And I left some checks in one of the drawers. They were just blank checks that I hadn't used yet. And they were just sitting in top of one of the drawers. But one of the painters saw these checks and they're like, oh, free money. So they took some checks, and I didn't discover it till a month after we returned from our vacation, because I was balancing the checkbook, and I'm like, Brian, did you buy a new computer, or did you buy some parts at a car place, and stuff? And he's like, no. And so we figured out that the checks had been stolen and they had been written. They wrote about $5,000 worth of checks on my account. So I actually had to call the bank and say this was fraud. Somebody stole my checks, and we had to get a police report and all this stuff. But I actually got my money back. They put it back into my account, but and then I had to confront the guy who was painting the inside of our house was a friend of ours. So I had to say, my checks were stolen while you guys were painting. He's like, I was wondering where they got the new stuff for their car and where they got a computer and where they got the money to buy it and stuff. So anyway, so they got in a little bit of trouble, but I got my money back. So, but you have to be really careful not to leave things out where other people might get them, might take them. Keep people honest.
Yeah.
So don't leave money unattended. Buy in bulk.
It's funny, yesterday when we were at Costco, we saw this guy, one of those flatbed things, and it was stacked this high with mangoes. And he was going through all of the Costco mangoes, and he was picking out
the best ones.
You know, they were in boxes of 6. And he was just picking out the best ones. But what was he doing? He was buying in bulk, and then he was going and reselling them later. So again, if you can get volume discounts, that's really good. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to find multiple suppliers, because what happens if one of the suppliers doesn't have the products? Okay, and then also with your business, realize different businesses have different payment terms. Some businesses, you know what, they give you the products now and you don't have to pay for 30 days. Others, it's 90 days. But figure out what's done in your industry and try to negotiate good payment terms for your business. Again, if you can buy on credit and sell for cash, you can take advantage of we call that other people's money. Mm-hmm. But once you set your payment strategy, make sure you communicate that with your suppliers and also with your customers as well.
So also be wise and have integrity when you're financing your business. We believe in being honest, and financial relationships are based on trust and personal integrity. Make sure you fulfill all your agreements that you make with anybody and avoid any deceitful practices. If you borrow money, pay it back. And make sure that you understand all the financial arrangements that you make with other people. If you don't understand them, or if it sounds like it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Realize your example is important. Mm-hmm. My dad built chapels for the church. He would go from place to place, and I think we told you that. And then he decided that he didn't want to take his family of 6 kids and move them every 3 years. And so he and another friend decided to go into business. Well, so they borrowed money, they built houses, and needless to say, the economy went south. And they weren't able to sell the houses. So the bank actually took over those things. And someone told him, well, you can just go declare bankruptcy. And my dad said, no. So what he did is he went around to every single one of his suppliers, and he told them, he says, you know what, this is what happened. If you'll bear with me, we will pay you back. And over the next 2 years, he bought his truck and tools back from the bank, and the next years he had paid everybody off with interest. So fast forward 30 years. I have a brother, needless to say, he wasn't very good at keeping records. And when tax time came, the IRS came in and said, hey, you haven't paid taxes. You owe more. And they basically wiped out his entire working capital. They just kind of took it straight from the bank. And someone had actually gave him the same advice. Says, you know what, just declare bankruptcy. I mean, that's the easy thing to do. And he kind of remembered what happened with my dad. And my dad went around and he went through to every one of his suppliers and said, you know, I made a mistake. I was wrong. But he said, if you'll bear with me, I will pay you everything I owe you plus interest. And in the next 2 years, he went back and paid every single one of his suppliers. Guess what the reputation of my dad and my brother is in businesses? Their reputation was very good. People knew that they were good at what they did, and they would continue to do it.
Okay, so turn your inventory often, buy on credit, sell for cash, donate your inventory, learn to say no, pay yourself a livable salary, buy in bulk, negotiate positive payment terms, and be wise and have integrity.
And the most important things. Go ahead, what's the bottom line? Again, just like personal finance is the process of developing good habits, catching your vision, developing good goals, and then developing habits that will take you to your goals. Entrepreneurship is the same thing. What we need you to do is we need you to just figure out what those habits are, and then work on those habits. Takeaways?
To walk guiltless before God, impart of your substance to the poor, both spiritually and physically.
Okay, thanks everyone.